What's going on, everybody? It's Jazz, the CEO. Today, we're going to be talking about terms to know as a process server. Certain things you need to know that I learned in the field on my own, Googling, and nobody taught me, which I should have learned beforehand, and it wouldn't have taken me so long to get the hang of things. So, the first term to know is process server. You're a process server. Process server is just literally someone 18 years or older who's not involved in the actual case you're serving documents for, who serves the legal documents for a court case to an individual. That is what a process server is. Okay? You're not the police, you're not a detective, you're not any of those things. Now, on the flip side, if you happen to have your private detective license like I do, and like some of my students do, you can introduce yourself as private detective such and such. Me, I'm private detective Lee, but I never leave off the private. I always say private detective Lee. I even have a badge. My badge, it says private detective Lee because I never, ever, ever, ever want to be accused of impersonating the police. That is the term. That's the next term. Process server, just told you what you are, what you do, and what you're not. Impersonating the police is something that is actually a criminally offensive. You could go to jail for it, okay? You don't want to do it. And it's easy to do by accident and it's easy to do on purpose. We don't want to do it at all, by accident or on purpose. You do not want to impersonate the police. So you want to make sure you have something that says private detective, investigator, or things of that nature so that you can clearly identify yourself when you are walking up to someone. Now, if you're doing it, covertly in incognito style, of course you don't really want to have anything on, but just make sure that you don't say officerly, detectively, or anything like that. That is first and foremost because that right there can land you in jail, get you a fine, and end your career before you even get it started. So you want to definitely make sure you don't do that, right? All right, now that's doing some, maintenance kind of thing. But the next term you want to know is affidavit. Affidavit is the piece of paper. Here, I have an affidavit. I have a stack of affidavits because there's several different kinds. The affidavit is simply a piece of paper that has all the information about the court case that you are serving, has who you need to be serving it to, what court case number, trial dates, information that. But what else it is, it's also for you to fill out, for you to put who you served, when you served them, where you served them, how you served them, how you know you served the right person. It can ask for the height, weight, age of the person, all kinds of things, okay, on this affidavit. Now, the affidavit is one of the most important things to know as a process server because it is your golden ticket to getting paid. When you fill this out, it needs to be legible. It needs to be neat. You need to not drop any cigar ash on it. You need to not drop any food, brandy, bourbon, whiskey, whatever. You don't want to drop anything on this. You don't want to fold it. You want to crinkle it because a lot of people, a lot of law offices want the actual original affidavit to turn into the court system. So you don't want to be the one who messes up the paperwork and now you're giving somebody some dirty paperwork, which makes them look bad, what makes you look bad, and they're not going to use you again. So the affidavit, you need to know, an affidavit is basically certifying that you have served this document, or you can have an affidavit of no service, which means you attempted 3 or 4 times, you couldn't get the person, and you explain who you were trying to serve, why you couldn't get them, how many times you tried to do it, etc., all on this one piece of paper. Now, sometimes you may actually have to create your own affidavit. What you do is you take the summons, next word, the summons is the actual paperwork that will be given to the defendant that you are actually serving. If you're serving a summons to go to court, divorce court summons, anything that's being you're going to take that information and you're going to compile it into an affidavit of serve, an affidavit of no serve, by giving what court it's going to, what court system, address, phone number, whatever's on the actual information on that summons, you want to add into your affidavit. So you got affidavit, well, actually, you got process server, impersonating police, affidavit of serve, and affidavit of no serve, and then you have summons. And the summons is so you'll have something like this. You have something that says writ of summons. The writ of summons is basically the first piece of paper on top of all the other papers to let that person know what's going on. If they're getting somebody filed for divorce, if somebody filed a complaint against them, if somebody is suing them for a certain amount of money, if there's a restraining order, if whatever. This is basically the informational page to tell them what they need to do next in their situation. This is not for you to explain to them. This is just for you to give to them and get on out of there. So you got affidavit of no service, and you have writ of summons. Now, back to when I said that you might have an affidavit of no service. The affidavit of no service has you explaining why you couldn't actually serve this individual. What comes after that is possibly something called an alternative serve, an alternative service. So if you're working for a lawyer or a client who tells the judge, hey, I can't get this person served. We tried 3-4 times. They did this. They said this. They did this. They won't open the door. We know they're there, blah, blah, blah. You're giving that client, your client, as much information as possible to compile a case saying that you can't serve this person because of these situations. And now the judge is going to grant your client alternative serve. Alternative serve is important to know because if somebody said, hey, I got alternative serve, can you do it? Thinking that you already know what the term means, and you're kind of like, oh, now you can say, oh, what kind of alternative serve did you get granted? So they could get granted email. They could get granted mailbox, which means you'll just be dropping it in their mailbox, which means you'll just be emailing it from your professional email. That's a whole nother video, but we'll get on that later. Or my favorite one, my favorite alternative serve is something called a red tape serve. Red tape serve means you take the packet, you simply put red tape on all 4 corners of the packet, and you stick it on their door. Yep, you heard me right. All you're doing is sticking it on their door. So you're going to take the paperwork, you're going to put red tape over top, and you're going to tape it and slap it on the defendant's door. It is my favorite way to do it. 1, because I don't have to talk to people. 2, I don't have any confrontation. And 3, it's fast, easy, and you get paid just like you did have to talk to an individual. And because you're going off the information on the writ of summons or the affidavit or whatever, you know that all you have to do is put it on the door, and you don't have to do any extra looking for the person because it is an alternative serve. Simple, easy, and fast. You can make $100+ just by slapping something on somebody's door. Now, I tend to stay around, especially if I know the person is home, to see if they're going to open the door and get their reaction. That's just me. I like to follow through with everything that I do. But you don't have to do that as long as you take photos or video of you doing the alternative serve, and you can turn that into the client and allows them to have something to turn into the judge so that they can say, yep, this person has been served with the alternative serve judgment, and you're all good to go. So those are some simple terms that can take you above the rest when it comes to doing process serving or being a process server. Things that I had to learn in the field that no one told me beforehand. And I kind of had to look stupid a couple of times asking the actual client what that meant. But, we all got to start somewhere. So make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow process server. And comment below if you have any questions or you want some other terms explained or some other things about process serving or being a private detective explained. I will definitely try to get that content out to you. 2023 is the year of more and new content. So make sure you turn on that bell so that you know when something new has dropped. Those notifications pop on for the shorts. See you guys next time.